which is about an hour away here on the Eastern Standard Time Zone where I live, we see Bitcoin has reversed very hardcore, XRP very much so, and if you came in the live earlier, you wouldn't be surprised, I don't think necessarily by this movement. Now, there's no way to predict it 100%, but everybody who's been a part of my community, I talked about before Bitcoin ever went on its rally, the cup and handle, and we didn't know how the handle was going to form. We just knew that cup was building, and we projected out a cup and handle, and then a technical target of 122,186, and then we fine-tuned it a little bit to 122,279 just over this last part, which you can take that away because it doesn't matter. It's that, and then if you go, you know, ultimately, that's what we had said when it happened, you know, before this market started. Now you fast forward to where we're at, Bitcoin came up and fulfilled that target as it came up to just about 123,000, just a tiny bit more. So it fulfilled that target. So now the question is, we have one more target that exceeds that, but that's not the bull market target. That was created after the cup and handle started breaking out. And if we were to hold a back test at 113,000, around 747, could be as low as 500, depending on where it hits on that back test, then you could, in theory, rework yourself up to 143, but that's only if this is meant to break up, you know, and hold a back test here. My technical target for Bitcoin in this bull market, you all remember when it started, was 122,186. And the fact that at 123, I see only big drops coming here. So I pulled out of all the group trades. We had a great week. Some people left. More people joined after. But personally, my personal trades that I made were up around $3,500, $3,400 in the past 6 days. I know the group was up over $10,000 with who are left. It was over 14, but a couple of people left. And then they rejoined back, but it resets the stats. So, but I just felt like Bitcoin now would have to come down. And I told the group, like, I'm not going to open up another trade until Bitcoin lets me know if it's going to come to 113.7. And it was right around 120K when I said that. Just didn't feel right. Just didn't feel right. Hey, what are these? What are these next to the names? I turned something on earlier. I want to know what this is. Oh, look at this. The top fans turned on. How cool is this? Dude, look at this. This is the new thing that I was able to do. It shows top fans now. Oh my God, this is awesome. That is awesome. Did you guys notice this? So the top fans, here, let me go on here. I'll do it on my computer so you guys can, or on my tablet so you guys can see. This is freaking cool. I didn't know what it meant when it asked me. When it asked me if I wanted to turn this on. Look at it when I go into here. See how it says number 1, number 2? Look at it. It shows me my top fans now since this started. Defined group, thank you for being a top fan, number 1. Nick Morales, number 2. Skill Rebels, number 3. Corey Zimberg, number 4. How cool is that? And it goes all the way down to number 17. So I'll have to acknowledge the top fans every day now, too. How cool is that? See, that is good. That makes it cool. It gives us a little bit closeness. So, but yeah, I'll take this off. I'll read it off of my tablet. I mean, off of my big screen next to me. But I just wanted to acknowledge. How cool is that? So on here, it said Nick Morales was my top fan when I was reading it on the other side. But then on there, it showed somebody else. So who is it? So I hustle harder than you on here in Defined Group and Nick Morales. All three of them are tied for first with 75, it says. Fourth is Skills Robo, Corey Zingberg 5. And Skill Rubbers, they both were 4. And then there's a series of people tied with 25 experience points. And it's just Trading with J-Ride, Louie, Stephen G, John Bugathorpe, Chief Mushroom, Areli, Jorge, Ty Farrell, Set Apart, Nunya, Jade for Mix, and Chucky Wheezy. That's awesome that it does that. That's crazy. But yeah, Ty, welcome in pre-bong or pre-show bong. Excellent. You're gonna need one here. But at least we were honest about this, you know. At least we were honest. At least I pulled out of these trades, and you guys seen in the Telegram when I'm like, you know what, I don't know, and it just seemed to me like even though we were playing those golden crosses on the ones that didn't break out, they weren't happening. I said it earlier when they didn't hit 122. It's like we can try, but after a while it just becomes a little too much. But anyhow, let me get through this. I love seeing the top fans too, because now I can read it when I go by the name. Defined Group, welcome in, and thanks for being in town over 3+ months with the XP Meteor along with Steven, and thanks for being the #2 top fan, it says. Nick Morales, thank you so much for being in here in the live before bed, and top fan as well. I love it. John Bugathorpe, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Zone for over 1 year at the I Told You So Bad. You are welcome, my friend. Raleigh, welcome in. Jorge, thanks for being a very trusted mod, not just in here, but also in the Telegram as well. And Defined Group, thank you for being a mod as well in the Telegram. It's awesome. We're building something very special, but there's over 400 people in there now, so now I need some enforcers, so to say. Let me try to get through all the hellos real quick, because, you know, it's late, and you know, I want to get us to the point here, because obviously you can see things are dropping pretty quickly here. And I'm not really surprised here. I felt like this could happen in a big way. And now we get to see the extent of it. But it did hit my technical target in this market, so like whatever happens from here, you know, technically Bitcoin hit my bull market target. And yeah, it created one that's higher to 143 if we hold the back test at 113.5. But that's a big if right now. That's a big if. Let's see. Skills says, I was about to take a shower, but I need to know how far XRP will dip. Only a wizard could possibly know that at this point. Right now, we're coming down to that 282 zone we talked about earlier. It's either 282, 278, but if it loses this zone, really don't have much until 275 or 265. And that was the pivot point resistance that now technically you could violently come down as support. And that would make sense. If Bitcoin comes down another 4,000 points, I would not be surprised to see XRP come down another 18 cents. But again, Ethereum's telling us everything we need to know right now. Got smacked in the face at 3,000. Ethereum right now is 3,000 is XRP's $3 for Ethereum. That's the truth. So we'll see what happens here, but now all of these golden crosses we were trying to play, they're not 100% dead, but now you can start to see that they're starting to fall apart here a little bit. They're not completely falling apart. This can still be a fake out to the downside, but this is where volatility is real. And if you make the wrong entry point now, especially if you're on leverage, which I don't do leverage in the group, it's all 1x for a reason. But, you know, you make a mistake here and all of a sudden you make an entry and you're down 7%, 5%. I'm glad that actually did that, because hold on, I've got to plug this in, because as you can see, my tablet's gonna die soon. All right, I got my charger right here, so don't worry, it's not gonna go anywhere. I have it alert me at 15%. So that my live won't shut off. Because once it gets down below, I think 10, it's just gonna... It might, I don't know, it might shut it off, so... No problem, now it's on. That's a super fast charger, too, so... Gotta turn these comments back on. Let's see. Jaden with J-Rod, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the, or what is that, 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Excellent. Excellent. I hustle harder than you. Thank you for being a top fan as well. At the time, the number one on here. But thank you so much, my friend. Said called it again, Tom. I do what I can. Do what I can. See, Corey Zingberg, big dip. It's been about a 10% dip or so for XRP so far. Alfred says Tom sees the future. I try to stay in tune. I really do try to stay in tune. Chuck Wheezy, what's going on? Daily stats RSI finally dipping. Yeah, some of it's reversing big time. But I'm telling you, once Bitcoin hit that target, I was all confident until, what did I say earlier? I'm super confident until, and I showed the scenario. And then when it got to 122, I'm like, ooh. Because now either way, we have to have a correction. Even if we go to 143, it can't just blow right through and do nothing. We were overextended on Bitcoin. And then, unfortunately, the altcoins that apparently don't care, even if they're in a good setup, they still won't go outside of Bitcoin. So we just have to accept our fate for what it is. But just live in the solace that even with the 10, 15, 20% drop here, look where XLM's going to be. Even if it drops another 15% from here, and that's just a hypothetical, folks. Don't lose your minds. But if it does, I mean, you're only talking about being down at, what, 37, 38 cents. But we started at 24. Even though it would look like a big drop. Just like XRP, if we dropped another, I don't know, 10% from here, and all of a sudden we're sitting at like $2.40 or $2.50, and we drop below 265 even. We started at 224, but even before that, we were down in the $1.90 area. So, you know, and that's the same with a lot of these. Even if Bitcoin drops to 113.5, well, it was at 107 before we started this run up at the last second. So we need to, this is why I always say, you have to be in the moves before they go. And the higher up they go, even the ones that don't technically make the move, that you think the other ones, or that you think they're going to because the other ones did, this is what ends up happening. You get caught with your dick out. And they always kick you in the dick in crypto. That's why I'm blessed that I always tell everybody, don't judge me on what I make while we're in. Judge me by how much I save us sometimes when I get out. Like, I had 4 trades open that I took small losses of anywhere between like $7 and $25. And I just said it doesn't feel right. I know they're working on the Golden Cross, but this isn't right. And I said, I'll take that small loss. And now it would be hundreds of dollars per position. Like, we'd be getting smoked right now. We'd be absolutely getting bent over and smoked. And I talked it through on the Telegram, and there was a reason why. But yeah, this is a kick in the dick. That's all this ever ends up being. It's all it ever ends up being. And I always get frustrated when this stuff happens because it always looks so good. They give the setups in front of us. Unfortunately, we picked the right ones. Not all of them, but at least we hit the right ones from day one on Wednesday last week to where we made, no matter what happens here, we made a good amount of money. Like, let's just leave it that way. And I don't want to piss anybody off who's new or somebody who's like, oh, I'm jealous or whatever, because we're creating abundance here. And I can assure you, everything that everybody in my community's learned, I don't charge anything. So you can learn the same thing. It just depends on dedication and how much faith you have, I suppose. But I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021, and I have not missed a single day of doing this. So I take a lot of, I have a lot of respect for that, and I put a lot of stock into it as well. So good evening. 11:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, July 14th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So I thank everybody who is tuning in on this late night, approaching early AM hours here in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. About 8:19 p.m. on the West Coast. Let's see, in Australia and Perth, it's 11:19 a.m. In Rome, Italy, it's 5:19 a.m. So a lot of different varying times here. So if you're over there in Perth or in Australia, over on that side of the world, good morning. Good morning. In Italy, my home country, where my grandpa came over on the boat when Mussolini gave up his people. Well, my grandpa passed away in 2001, but you know, my dad's first generation, so I'm second generation. Hell yeah, defined. I told you guys, don't judge me based on what we can make in trades. Judge me based on how I can get away before the drops happen. This is a great example. You know, this is something I taught myself. Like, if you have that gut feeling, don't worry about what you think could happen. You know, don't get caught up in the... And I even went through it and I talked about psychology of it earlier. And I said that, you know, a lot of people are going to hold out hope, or they're going to be a part of good trades and they're going to say, I can't get out of the way. Or they're going to look at what other ones did and say, well, this has to do this. And then they're going to hold on for too long or whatever the case. And this could still play out. It hasn't busted this. But this is what I was talking about. You would have had to play it all the way down here. But all of these, they all... And I see this all too often where a bunch of them will break out. And we just happen to pick the right ones, guys. We just happen to be good on IOTA, good on Algo, good on XLM, good on HBAR. You know, we really banged it right out the gate. You know, and it, but this is what ends up happening. You start to see how it flows a little bit differently. And now for XRP, we start looking at it, and we're all of a sudden we're down here at $2.81. I apologize that it took me so long to get to this point, but I wanted to bring it all together in a sense. And in my title, I said XRP meets major resistance at $3 after Bitcoin hits bull market target of 122,000, then reverses below 118K. And that bull market target is my personal target that I had when this bull market started, and everybody in my audience knows. But now we could create one up to 143 as I've shown, but you would have to have a violent backtest at 113,000, approximately 700, and then you could bounce off and then push bullish if it's meant to hold, and then you could play that target that was created out of the cup and handle break out in the consolidation. That's what we created, and then when we broke out of that to finish the move, that's the target that was created if we happen to hold and this isn't a head that we created. So we're always trying to have forward thinking here. That's why we stay ahead of the market, because we set it up first. The other option is it could come back to one, and just listen to this because this could be very, very vital for what's coming. We could go down to 113.5, and then it comes back up to 122.5, 123, 124, puts in an M-topping reversal, and then comes back down and it doesn't have enough steam. So there's a couple different options that can happen here. But I really think that it would be healthy for it to come down and backtest on Bitcoin. You know, this big breakout that it had this, you know, a rising triangle, ascending wedge, some are calling it, but it had this breakout, and that's how you create that larger target. But I don't know. It seems to me having a pattern that was that long, you would have to backtest. But if we've learned anything, if we've learned nothing, is that you go back to the basics, and we don't generally see a pattern that big break out after that length of time, which was about... This was a good 7 months. You don't generally see a 7-month pattern that built up when it breaks out so violently, not backtested after it runs out of steam. And like, that's when I said the other day, XRP runs out of steam at $3. It wasn't that I thought that, you know, it couldn't come back up and try to hit it. I seen the momentum died right at that point, and now we might have to have that violent backtest at 265 to see if we're meant to have this as a real support structure. So, and the other thing I haven't seen during all of this, I haven't seen that extraordinary volume that tells me that this is anything more than like I said before, we're going to enjoy the profits up, even if I think the house was built on quicksand. And I think the best example I could give is what we did this last week, you know, because the group made, well, it was over 14,000, but some left, you know. Some left. One person left, and they were up several thousand, but then they came back. They just wanted to change their settings, but it resets everything. But the point is like, we were able to ride this up when it was the greenest of green, even though it wasn't always pretty. We wrote it up. We held to our conviction. But once we hit our targets, and some of them didn't even break out to our targets, we had to have the understanding of, okay, well, if it didn't get to that when Bitcoin was at 122, well, obviously something's wrong with this setup right now. It's not going to happen. And as painful as that is, sometimes you got to cut your losses. And while they were very tiny losses at that, but still, you know, sometimes I want to see these things out too, like the rest of you. But in the short term, it wasn't in the deck of cards. And I'm glad we stepped out of the way, because now we'd be sitting there going, oh my God. Now we're at $400 or $500 losses on some of these, maybe. Especially if you would have bought XCN at the flip. You're going to be sweating your nuts off right now. A lot of them, though, a lot of them are approaching 3.5%. And when you have a couple of $1,000s in something, that's when you really start to notice it. When it gets to 3-4%, you're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And on the way up, when it's up 3 or 4%, you look at it and you're like, meh. But I'll tell you, the human psychology, when you're down a few percent, that $200-300 is real. When you're up $200-300, you're like, man, it's only $200 or $300. When you're down $200 or $300, you're like, oh shit, what do I do now? Panic mode to the extreme. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. That's why I decided to come back on. And my son fell asleep, and I'm a little tired, but I figured we would talk about this a little bit. I'm not going to say that we're going to break down to 113.5 guaranteed, but it started off a very strong drop here. And I can't imagine that the Asian countries, the Eurozone, and all of these other ones on the other side of the world for me are going to wake up too pleased right now. They might be wake up in full panic mode. I can tell you right now in the USA, because a lot of people in the USA are like robots, they shut their brains off when they get off of work and they go turn the TV on and they watch it until they go to bed. And they won't look at the stock market or crypto till they get back up for work in the morning. Not my audience, of course, but the general robots. Or they'll watch a few YouTube videos. And the other reason I knew we were going to drop, and I hate to say this, and I love Miles. Miles, I love you if you're watching out there. I'm sure you do watch, because I see some of your analysis that kind of talks like mine when it comes to XRP. But I knew we were kind of screwed here. Because I kid you not, XRP made a push, and this is the greatest thing. It made a push to $3 or $2.99. That last push, or $2.97, when it made that last push before this drop. And he put a video out during that push. And he said XRP, some yada yada yada. Where the hell is it? I'm giving this guy credit because now you can watch this video. Had a lot of very good and important news. But I always say we have the inverse ETF, and it's nothing against this guy, but I knew something couldn't be good when he put this video out. 2 hours ago, I said XRP could go way higher than $7 soon. And right when I seen that, I'm like, well, you had to say that when we were at $2.98 or 97. I'm like, clearly, well, that's the indicator we're going down. So that was the sign I needed. But no, that's the small joke. We used to, in 2022, we had the inverse ETF, the inverse Miles ETF, or indicator, or whatever you want to call it. One part, our technical analysis. One part was do the opposite of what he said. And one part was, I don't remember what the third part was, but 2/3 was do the opposite of what he said, just saying it a different way. And then 1/3 was what we seen on the charts, which were overweighed by the opposite of what he said. And it worked every time. Like, we started doing it just as a joke, and we started making some pretty disgusting money. It felt like blood money, so I stopped doing it. But it was pretty funny. Every time we would put out a video that put a bullish thing on, oh, it was great. Let's see. Remember what everybody said about, yeah, the ISO is live, and what did I tell you guys? You're going to be very disappointed when we start dumping on the moment it's supposed to go live. Because, guys, there's already been amendments. All these channels that are saying that, it makes me sick. Only because I've been talking about this since 2021. And in 22, they had a thing that they released, official documents, and it clearly stated that they had expanded it and extended it until almost December of 28. To where you could do only 50% of the total filling of people who are in the institutions or whatever that are using the framework. They could still use the old HTML framework and not go to the ISO coding. And then we also had an amendment until late 26 to where we don't even need anybody to flip over yet. Like, that's the truth. They're trying to push this and slow it down for as long as they can. But if you think the ISO turning on is going to give you some magical 8,000% run overnight, I think you're watching too many of these fudsters. This doesn't happen because of that. There's a whole lot of other reasons that'll make this happen. There's a reason this drop happened. And there's a reason why it went to 122 after 118 instead of just dropping. Remember how many people overwhelmingly took out shorts? And I came on Friday and I said, this is no different than sports gambling when there's a team that Vegas puts out and then all of a sudden all the public money ends up on the other side. And it's the underdog. Or it's the favorite. And Vegas is kind of surprised that all the money went on the favorite here because they thought the odds were pretty good with the underdog. And like, uh-oh. 90% of the money's on them to take this. Not just on the money line, but also laying plus 6 points. There's still 95% of the money's on them to do that as well. We can't do that. We know they're going to win. And now even on the spread, we know they're going to kick the shit out of them. But all the money's coming in like this. So all of a sudden, Vegas, they get on the phone and they're like, who are they playing? The Sacramento Kings. Nobody cares. Nobody would expect. And then they look at it and they're like, well, you know, I know Oklahoma, I know you're a better team. But Shea has an ankle contusion in the first quarter. Oh, shit, his shoe comes untied and he slips and his ankle's hurt now. But then the next game, he's back as good as new. Happens all the time. Guy's got 14 points. He needs 15. There's 3 quarters left, and all of a sudden he doesn't shoot the ball again for the rest of the game. I mean, that's how this is right now. The people who waited to enter end up becoming exit liquidity. And we don't know if this is the start of the end, but this is a tough spot to be in. This is when I like to just sit here on the side and say, whoo. And I honestly am still sitting here stunned because 23 turned to 40, almost 44, and I'm out of the way right now. And I did take 3,600 off of BITUNIX, sent it to crypto.com to put it on my crypto Visa debit card because the prepaid card, which I actually just got there as a matter of fact. But I wanted to cover something because Julie wanted to go for her birthday to her grandma's old cabin that used to be hers, and she found it on Airbnb because her grandma's been passed away for a number of years. And I didn't know Julie at the time, and nor did we even have the money to buy it. But without her even knowing, I booked it for 3 nights for her birthday at the end of July. But it's on August 11th. But I wanted to, use some of this. But yeah, that's where I stand right now. I'm letting everybody know. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say it didn't show it, but it was showing it, but it didn't. But anyhow, now I'm sitting here and I'm gonna keep like $40,000 probably for the next time up, or for the next time we have to do something here. I'm not saying I'm gonna put all 40,000 in the group. Like if you're group trading, I got $5,000 in there, and when we did it for the last couple of days, I went up to like 15. But I think having $5,000 is good. If there's an extenuating circumstance, I'll put more. But for the most part, I don't want to have more than that because I think it gives us a better focus. But right now, I mean, like, we're watching this, and there's not much I can say here except I want to see what Bitcoin does. If, in fact, it goes down to that 113.5 or 7 range, 113,500 or 700, like we talked about in the live earlier, nothing changed. The only thing that's changed is it's starting to happen. That's one of the things, like, the only thing that's changed right now is it's actually starting to play out on the charts. The catastrophe that we started to see set up earlier. And once it starts happening, it gives you a little bit of credibility because, like I said earlier, I look like an idiot right now because things are running up and I'm in positions with the group, but I exited out when I thought appropriate. And now all of a sudden we're sitting here at 1134 and Bitcoin's down $2,644, 2.21%. Hanging on by a hair, thread at $1.17. XRP's down 4.6%, barely hanging on to $2.80. And it's getting into that exact spot that I talked about earlier, and the Johnny come latelys end up always being exit liquidity. And like, listen, guys, and you can be honest or you can lie or you can be truthful or you can just not say anything. I don't care. You can even admit. How am I gonna know if you're telling the truth? How many of you, because of being part of the Telegram or part of these lives or part of the group trade, you were able to make like $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7,000, maybe more, over the past 6 days, and got out of the way today before this drop happened? Because I don't know many people that could see the market before it happens, see it during, and get out of the way even when they were on high emotion. Because I'm not flexing. I walked out of here in the last 6 days, and I can't believe I'm saying what I'm saying. Like, Julie's jaw hit the ground when she's seen what happened the past, like, 6 days. But it was like a $20,000 week. And that doesn't happen very often. And now I'm sitting here saying, I got to get away from my own emotion and just let this market correct again. Because now instead of having 23,000 at my disposal, I got 40. Well, I have 40. I took 3,700 out. But that's my right. I put it on the crypto Visa debit card. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Yeah, you have to stake the crypto token, CRO. That's why I have 40,000 tokens. Because I have like the third up, the card that's like the third highest. Where you have to have at least $5,000 in CRO. That's the card that I chose. The one that I wanted, because you get a bunch of rewards and all this good stuff. It's in my desk, I believe. It should be somewhere over here. I know I set it in there, but who knows? Oh, here it is. No, I must have put it in the bottom part of the drawer. I was going to show you what it looks like, but where the fuck did I put it? I know I put it in there somewhere, because I set it in here, like, whatever. You guys can look it up, but that's what I like to use. I put it on there, and then I got the prepaid card, and yada, yada, yada. It's a good way to stack some profits. And then instead of using a credit card, you know, I used to use a credit card a lot. I just start using that, and then I get CRO rewards there. Here it is. So it looks like this. I'm not going to show you the back of it, but it looks like this. So that's the Ruby tier, I believe they call it. It's like the third one up, but you have to have 5,000 in CRO. It doesn't matter if it goes down in value. It's what it was at the time you bought it. What happened here? Where the hell did my comments go? Sorry, guys. When you listen late, you get babbling time. Well, I guess you always get babbling time. Let's see. Our silver is absolutely cooking. I know it had a little bit of a retracement, but it's still over 38. We had a volatile back test of 38, which it's great to have these back tests like this. I know it hit over 39 for a moment today. I mean, on Friday, and then it broke down, or on Thursday it was, but it broke down at the end. But it's fine. I mean, we're gonna cook still. It's just we have we have big volatility, but it's got a big move to come soon. Man, but this could get ugly. Like, this isn't ugly yet. This could get ugly. This is why I watch this stuff all day. Because you never know when it's going to happen. Unless you're watching it. You can feel it when something's wrong. That's pretty cool, though, that the top fans thing is on there. I like that. Jorge says, hit that like button and consider subscribing to Tom's channel or joining Tom's Army for the best TN. Yeah, absolutely. If you made something with us, if you're able to advance your portfolio this week, consider joining Tom's Army. Please consider joining Tom's Army. I don't charge anything. The pay it forward mentality is the thing that I appreciate and admire the most. And, you know, I'd appreciate it. Our YouTube Super Chat, PayPal app, Cash App, Venmo. hit that like button, share this, subscribe, become a new member. Either way, it's all good. You know, at least we're here together watching this unfold. And I know we won't have as much time as we want together, and it's getting closer to the 12 a.m. time, and I'm going to have to get to bed soon. Well, I'll go to bed at like 1 or 2, but I'll have to end this soon. Because I get up at like 7. Today I got up later. I got up at like 8:30 today. And then I got to the gym by like 9. Got home by 10. I love doing the short in the morning, though, when I first get up. And then doing the update after I get back home from the gym. Because then it gives you guys something to watch for 60 seconds while you're taking a shower, or when you're about to go to work, or when some of you are on lunch break or getting home from work, depending on where you're at. But it gives you a quick thing, and you know, and then we talk about it deeper. And you've noticed I've been doing a lot more lives than updates now, because I'm just enjoying the setting of coming on, and instead of talking 10 to 20 minutes in an update, I've liked coming on here and doing that 50 minutes to an hour and being able to talk to all of you. It's given me a closer sense of companionship here as well. So I hope you you understand why that's starting to happen. But you know, let's see. Mateo says I was just about to, but XRP gonna drop. Sell XLM or hold. I can't tell anybody what to do. You know, I can't tell you what to do. I personally am not doing anything outside the norm here. So all my 40,000 on BITUNIX is liquid right now. There's not a single dollar that's tied up right now on BITUNIX. I'm just glad I built it up from 23 and I was able to take that. Like I said, I'm glad I was able to take that 3,700 off just now. Like, it means it's a big thing. Because I got to cover the trip, and now I'm plus like 2K or 2,300 on top of that. And on the Crypto Visa debit card, you can prepay it up to 25K, and it is a lifesaver. I think I'm back up to like 23 something now. But that's like a bank, you know, that's like it's something, man. Wonder if it works in this thing. No, yeah, it should. Absolutely. Nick says, absolutely time I love catching lives, updates before work or at work during. Oh, I appreciate that. Nick, I wanted to talk to you. I was going to send you a message, and then I decided I would just wait, because I never know when you're at work. But I was going to say in the Telegram, you see how I had the admins? I have 3 parts there. Only 2 parts are filled right now. And I know you've seen what's going on in there. Man, there's so many spammers, it's crazy. Seeing that how everybody always shares the people who are acting like me. Clearly not me. But I get it, it happens. I get it. You know, I don't know what else I can do about it, but you know, like Jorge, I made the integrity agent, and then Define, I made the compliance agent. On yours, but obviously because I wanted 3 admins because there's 400 people, but I don't know if you would do it or not. I wanted it on yours just to be on there, not agent on yours. I wanted yours to say technical advisor, even though you would still be an admin. I wanted it to say technical advisor on yours, so then when people see, they would be like, oh, he's the compliance guy, this guy's the integrity guy. So if you got integrity issues, he's going to spot him, and then he's going to point him out to the compliance guy. Well, if other people need help with charting, you do it so freely anyhow. You know, you can be the technical advisor. I think it would be cool. I think that's a great thing. And for him to be a mod, I think it needs to be a technical advisor. And I really do like that. So, oh, this is my channel, my community. I'm going to do it right now. And I wanted to do it earlier, but I knew you were at work, Nick. Or I knew that you were doing your thing, so I'm like, I'll wait until I go live when I see him. So you see how Jorge, I have him on here, and he's the, you see down here, he's the integrity agent. And then I got Define, he's the compliance agent. He came up with the cool stuff here, too, if you ever go into the Declaration of Prosperity. But then, Nick, I wanted you to be the technical advisor. And I know these names sound, maybe to some of you, they're stupid. But they have a reason. Nick really is our technical advisor in there. And you guys can do anything except for creating new admins, because that's my job. Let's see. Technical. I don't know if it'll have enough. I think it'll have enough words. Damn it. One letter. Are you kidding me? I guess you're the technical agent then. I think that's why. Whoops. I think that's why I went to technical. The agent part. Unless I just went TA. What sounds good? Technical advisor. Hold on. Hold on. You know, this is the beauty of it being my community. I know some people are going to be like, oh, dude, I'm not watching this. But you guys should join this. This is all free. There's 401 members. The members who group traded with me were up like $14,000. And that's not going to happen typically. But when we have moments of opportunity, we take advantage. And then we were out before this happened. It's all free. I don't charge anybody, but you got to be cool. If you're not, we have a compliance agent. And we have an integrity. And the integrity agent. You know, just in case. But... here, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna go back to the charts real quick because I don't want to keep that page on. I gotta think about this for 1 sec because I want to see, let's see. So I want to see how these charts go too because we're gonna have to have these back tests or we're gonna end up cooking again. I want to see if we can reverse and cook at any time. Let's see. I could keep agent in there, but I think I like advisor. Um, I don't know unless you guys have a better idea. I was thinking tech agent as well. Tech agent will work actually. That was one of the ones I was thinking to keep agent and all of them. I like tech agent. That'll work. Right now we're having a bit of a back test here on the drop, so we'll see what happens. But Nick, I appreciate it. You were the 3 that came in mind. Jorge's a mod here. Define came up with our declaration of prosperity. And you are always there working the extra mile with the audience. So it just seems right. Just seems right. Oh, wait a minute. I already added you on there. Duh. I can just go into there now. Because you're an ad. Did I add you on here or not? No, I didn't. I can live with that. Tech. Actually, I wonder, can I do technical agent? Technical? No, I guess not technical because... yeah, we'll just do tech agent. If I think of something different, maybe I'll... Good enough. Good enough. Tech agent. So that's how it'll pop up. And at one time I had us all with the same kind of thing, but it was confusing. People couldn't tell who was who. So, you know, I like it better like this so we can see it. Members in the army, Tom will never do. Yeah, that's a good thing to know. I'm not, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'm never gonna send you a message. I've never sent anybody a message. I'm not gonna ask you to send me anything. Even if you group trade, I'm not in control of your assets. You just copy trade my trade. That's it. It stays on your exchange. I never see it. You just allocate it, you know, to my trades. But let's see. How do we get out of this drop? Now that because Bitcoin came way down here, and that's a big reversal here in the, it even shows this reversal here in the daily. Now, I suppose that could just be an overzealous drop, but that's a pretty big reversal. It's a pretty big reversal there. Oh, I agree, Jorge. I was thinking about it earlier, and I kept, excuse me. It was the only piece that was missing. I had to start with define because he came up with the declaration on the page. But anyhow, watching this. XRP bounce out of here, and we do have a technical target that it could have fulfilled if it maximized it, but that's getting over $3. And since it came all the way up here, the most logical thing is now that it came up here, if we fail, would be to come back down and back test 265. It really would. Like, we're desperate for that back test, I think. So I think a move is more likely probably to 265 here. And then if it holds, then we can find ourselves probably going up to that 332. But again, we did not, in my opinion, yes, there was a little bit more volume, but in the daily, does that volume that came in look anything like when we broke out in December? And if it's not, does it seem like this could possibly bring us to a new all-time high with the amount of volume that just came in? I don't know. That leaves a lot to be desired there. A lot. USDT printer 1 billion 4 to 5 hours ago after the 122K top. Interesting. Well, that would be good. Yeah, I even if it's close, like if it's 266, 263, 268, I'll still use 265 because that's the major pivot point for me that I use. But yeah, 266 is actually like, if you want to talk about a gap area that kind of snuck in there, I know you're not oblivious to it. But if you go all the way back to here in the rounding, and then you're like, well, I would dare say you want to back test where you had these wicks back here and just try to hit it back here, and it just happens to line up with that pivot layer that we're both talking about. So let's see. TA jump because he's a gentleman providing assistance. I love it. I love it. I like the play on words. Like in our community, like for us, it's Tom's Army, but I do TA, and then it says Tom's Army in my logo with TA. Well, Tom's Army, technical analysis, and my name is Tom, so it's also Tom's Army. So I think it's pretty cool. Skill Robo says other YouTubers are saying 266 as well. I don't watch other YouTubers, to be honest, so I don't really know. Let's see. 265 is bang on the daily. Ah, that's on the moving average. Gotcha. I see what you're saying. But yeah, makes sense. Lines up for me because that's the exact area that's the pivot point. It's our exact areas. We know where this market, depending on what direction it decides to take, we can go with it. We can go with it. So we try to stay in front of this. So that's what we're trying to see right now. I know we have a micro resistance that could have been support at 288, but it just kind of fell right through it. It was like 292, 288, and then it fell down to 282. Once that happened, you got like 278. I know there's like 274 and all this shit, but it doesn't matter. 265 would be the part that I really take solace in. So, oh no. I know, Oliver. I apologize for overshadowing what you were saying. I was just thinking about the play on words, and it made me think about. No, it's irrelevant. I know what you're saying for Nick. And I agree. And thank you, Oliver, for being part of Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XP Predictor, along with It's an Illusion. I think 265 backtest would be a nice area. I do. And I think it lines up nice with that Bitcoin at 113.5, 113.7. And one other thing I can tell you is you'll see some less tokens here, because certain things, even though I like them, like unfortunately ICP, I can't do it. And as much as I like the volatility of XEN, I can't do it. Only because I've got to be more laser focused. If we're doing group trades, it can only be ISO and IoT, and the small exception. Like ZBCN is staying. Alchemy Pay is staying. Data staying. Casper staying. File and Theta obviously staying. AMP staying. VChain staying. Quant staying on this page. You know, all this page is staying. And then, let's see. Casper staying. Axelar staying. XRP. And look at XRP Healthcare. Even though it's down 4%, it had a pretty nice push up here from when it had that big drop down, but mostly where you could have bought it from 4 or 5. Had a nice push here. If there was more exchanges, I can't wait for more exchanges to list this so there's more volatility. But I would dare say if it was more easily accessible on an exchange, and I know Albank has it, but it's a pain in the ass to try to get the upper numbers if you sell over like 10 or 20,000 tokens. You got to do really like 100 or 200 tokens at a time because there's such low movement. So that's one of those things. How do I get the newsletter? I don't know what newsletter you're talking about. Unless I'm missing something. I mean, I would encourage you to join the Telegram. Because that's where we all do our thing. Absolutely, Jorge. And I know with XRP Healthcare, I got mocked a lot about it in the beginning because it was like when I started talking about it like early last year, when it finally made that dump down under 2 cents. You know, there was a lot of people that were very happy about it because some influencers came on and talked about it when it was way up. I'm talking 30, 40 cents, and they were pushing it on everybody as exit liquidity for themselves. And then I waited for like a year and a half, and it finally came down and rounded, and then I felt comfortable talking about it. But a lot of people thought I was joking when I talked about how serious I thought it was going to be. I didn't know that we were going to like 27x it on this last bull run. I'm also not going to get mad about it. But if we do that again, and we get to where we're going again, it's going to be something. I told you, the next time we do what we need to do, it's going to be something incredible. But right now, we're just kind of roasting. They're roasting us right now, but I'm going to have to go, everybody. Because it's getting towards midnight. I want to make sure my son's okay. Julie's sleeping. My son's special needs, so I'm always nervous. I'm always walking around checking on him. Happiest boy in the world. I don't want to say I'm a helicopter parent, but for him, you kind of got to be a little more proactive than, especially with what we've been through. But yeah, I hope this helped. Hope you enjoyed it. I love the growing base that we have. I love the growing Telegram. I love the fact that a lot more of you are becoming involved. And I had 2 messages that stand out so far. One said, Tom, I don't know how to thank you. I made $2,000 trading in this run up, and that was a couple days ago, so it was after like 2 or 3 days. And they're like, I've never made this much money before, and it's never happened to me before. I don't know how to thank you. And they're like, that made me so happy. And then the other person today said something, and they said that I turned $1,000 into $8,000 during this last 6 days. And it's all because I was, or something to the effect, like it was because I was watching you and yada, yada, yada. I don't want to take all the credit. But like, that's the reason all I said back to the person was, that's why I do what I do. You know, it's why I do what I do. You know, I'm trying to create abundance, not for myself, but for everybody. And when you hold yourself accountable, not just for your own, but for everybody else's. And I'm not a financial advisor, but I really do put a lot of stock into this, and it's why I come into here all the time, and I want everybody to succeed with me. And I don't want to increase my fortune by decreasing yours. And unfortunately, 99% of the people you watch outside of me, they want to increase their fortune, and they don't give a rat's ass how they do it. I don't want blood money. You know, that's the bottom line. So the only red I like is what I'm seeing on the charts here. And it's like, I want to go, but I have a question. Would you guys rather me go Or would you like to smoke a relaxation with me and see what Bitcoin does here at 117K? I guess that's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna smoke a relaxation either way, so I can either do it by myself or I can do it with you guys. Watch a little more relaxation. John and Jorge, I will do it. We'll relax. Let me go grab my stuff. I want to see what Bitcoin does here at 171. But aren't you at least a little bit relieved that we together, because it's not just me, it's not I, it's we. Remember, this community is we. It's us. We all make up XRP Future Millionaire. We are, as Define said, I think he said it best. We are XRP Future Millionaire, not me. It's XRP Future Millionaire. I may have made the community, but it became all of us. So we are XRP Future Millionaire. And I think that holds true. So if you think of it in that perspective, as a group, the abundance grew by over $10,000 in the last 6 days. Just by the ones who are part of the copy trading. And at the time, it was only 31 people. Now, apparently, it's 43 and ever growing. I don't know how else to phrase it, everybody who stayed around, but the bottom line is I invested 13K and you're up to 52. You invested 13K into what and is up to 52. Holy shit. That's a huge move. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I don't remember. Oh, I do remember, but I'm out of papers. Wait a minute. Is that my warning that I'm gonna? Yes. I love how it has a warning, and then you still got like 4 papers left. So, no, but and to be honest, I had to stop being a pussy. And what I mean by that is, right now, there's like $123,000 of my community that has been trusting me with $123,000 as of right now. And when we started the run up, it started with like 60,000, then it was 100,000, now it's 120 something thousand. So for me, it had to be 3 things. 1, stop caring about the influence about everybody who's part of the copy trade, because they're supposed to be copy trading so that you can do the work. 2, you got to get over the fact that you've got everybody else's money like you're an asset manager now, even though you're not a financial advisor. But you put, I had to convince myself of that's okay because you put enough strain on yourself anyhow for your own position that you're certainly not going to just give away your own money. And because you're part of my trade, I'm not just going to do something stupid. What would the point of that be? And then 3 was just the fact that I had to build a community that I trusted. And it took me 4 years. You guys know the routine. I don't remember who it was who kept begging me to open this damn Telegram back up, but somebody did. You're probably here right now. And it's the best decision I ever made, was to do it exactly like I did. Get burned a couple of times because I'm on YouTube, obviously. And then just meet the right people one by one. I gotta blow my nose real quick, otherwise it's gonna be annoying. I see we got a new member of Tom's Army. Oh my god, I'll be right back. I can't believe it. And everybody, if you are part of the copy trading, please rest assured, and they are 1x futures trades. So I approach them just like they're spot trades. You don't have to worry about liquidations or nothing like that. Even if you put in $2,500 into a position or 1,000 or 500, you never have to worry about losing the whole thing. Couple percent, if that. I think my drawdown right now, and that's the maximum percentage you're down at any given time. I don't know what it is up to date. Let's see, but it's very small. The drawdown is very small. My maximum drawdown is 0.89%. Let me go to the last 30 days. Yeah, 0.89%. I've been doing this for 7 days now once it flipped this at 12 o'clock, and I'm up $3,400 in the copy trading. But our max drawdown is 0.89%, so less than 1% is our maximum drawdown right now. That's absolutely fantastic. Which means basically the ones who have been in the copy traded are risking, on average, less than 1% to try to gain a return. I can live with that. I can live with that. XR Piper says, Tom, you're smashing it. Solid bloke, excellent TA with integrity. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. You can't convince people you have integrity. It's got to be seen, and it's got to be, you've got to earn that feeling of integrity. And just by having integrity, people will see who you are. I think by now everybody knows who I am. Joint tonight. Not opposed to the bull. But I wanted to read Nick's comment too, because I seen he put some time to put this in. He said, "You're a great person, Tom. We might not always agree on everything, but we agree more often than not and love it." Oh yeah, we're not meant to agree on everything. That's why I need you in here. You keep me challenged. Not just that, you're a good person, but you also help people. And let's face it, I'm in my 40s. You're in your 20s. You know, the fact, I think you're in your 20s, obviously. I think you are right now. I'm an old man. Well, not old, but I'm getting into that veteran young, well, middle-aged guy now. We can call ourselves veteran young guy, but we're middle-aged guy. So we don't even know what we see or remember. But no, this community's perfect. I'm telling you, this doesn't happen. We could never make this happen like this again. It had to be the exact perfect storm to have us all in the way we are. And the people that come from the outside, well, obviously right now they're not going to stay. They're going to say, what the hell is going on with this guy? He's a fucking idiot. Oh, I like it. I'm the guy you look at and you're afraid to come up to because of how I look. And now that I added muscle, you're really afraid to come up to me because I'm just an intimidating looking person. But that's by design because I don't want anybody to screw with me. You wouldn't think of me when you walked by until you heard me talking. Well, of course, people are like, oh, he's tall, dark, and handsome. It's like, I'm not that tall. I'm only dark because it's summer. But I am damn handsome, so I'll give you that. Let's see. Raina, thank you so much for joining Tom's Army in your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on there. That's unbelievable. And thank you so much. You saved me from having a donation list live, which is nothing. I honestly don't care about that. The thing that we actually had a very prosperous live, because look at how we got out of the way right now. Well, thank you so much for joining, Raina. That means a lot to me. You made me the happiest person in the world today because it was after 12 a.m. my time. So now when I wake up today, well, tomorrow, because I still say tomorrow. Right now it's still Monday to me until I go to sleep and wake up. Does anybody else do that? Like, I don't care that it's Tuesday right now. It's still Monday in my brain. So until I fall asleep, I'm still working on Monday. Tom, we had a visiting priest who gave talks about giving freely because it's what Christ taught. When a member said he made enough to buy a house cash because of you, I was reminded how oh my God, you reminded me of that too, John. And I'm glad the priest said that. Like that's well, obviously the priest is a wise person. But yeah, somebody in my group today, and I remember when they were struggling because XRP was dropping, and they said that they took a leap of faith, and then the price, was down near $2 or whatever. It dropped, I think, to $1.60 at one point. But they had 75,000 XRP, but they had put so many in because they wanted to buy a house in cash. And they asked me, in my honest opinion, if I thought that it would go to $3 again. And I said, even if it fails, you should have, and I'm not a financial advisor, and they've been in the community, and this isn't all I said, but I told them that I think you shouldn't have any problem. And I know the price is down, but you should have a guarantee that it's going to at least hit $3 one more time before we go down. And today, it hit $3, and they sent a message in the Telegram and said, I sold 25,000 XRP, and I was able to buy my house in cash. So they got their last 75 grand they needed when it hit $3, and they were able to keep 50,000 XRP in their pocket. And they always say it's all because of you, but you know, it's not just because of me. You have to watch, you have to do the homework, and you have to have the faith that I'm actually being honest. But I think you guys have watched long enough. I mean, do I have to try to convince anybody? I don't think so anymore. You know, I just this last week has given me my own validation. Because it's one thing to talk about wanting to create abundance, but it's another thing of putting it to work. And I think we've come up with something here with this 1x copy trading. And I know we're not going to make $3,400 a week. I know that together. I get it. But why can't we watch drops like this? We forward predicted the drop from 122 to 113.5. You know, we forward predicted this stuff. And I'm not saying short the market. See, I don't like to short it. Because now I sit, I watch for the next opportunity. You know what happens when I short it? I'm so focused on the short side, I forget to long it, or I'm trying to beg the market to do something I don't want it to do. So now, remember when I say I need to step out of the way and watch the market? Whenever I say I need to step out of the way and watch the market, it's probably not a good sign in regards of if you're in a position, you know, if you're in a swing position, because I'm feeling it out now and I don't think something's right. And it usually plays out more times than not. But I think everybody's getting a deeper look into what I do now lately just because of what's been going on. And sometimes I wonder how many people actually hear when I go into a message like this. Because it's so like, holy crap, like, guy, it's 12:11. Will you shut up already? Oh, man, this could get ugly, Nick. This could get ugly. That's kind of an engulfing candle there. All the way to the downs. Ooh, that could get ugly. We could have put in our head and shoulders here. But I'm glad the person got to buy the house, or is going to be able to buy the house and gets to keep some XRP. And I'm so glad, because I remember when it was at $1.60, $1.70, they could have sold it out, and they were like talking about it. I remember when that all was happening, they could have sold it out, and they would have just had to sell all this XRP, and they asked me an honest question about, do I honestly think, and they said, I know you're not a financial advisor, but I really need you to be honest here, kind of thing, because I have a lot depending on this. I know it's not my responsibility, but I was trying to be honest, and I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad we got this run up. If for anything else, we got this run up here to help somebody in our community buy a house in cash. How about that? And you can't be mad about that. And they didn't hesitate. They didn't say, oh, I think it's going to go to 330, or, you know, it has the potential to do this or that. You know, they didn't keep the position right when it got to where they wanted at $3. They just sold it. So, Nick's in his mid-30s now. Oh, okay. See, look at me. I'm way off. Mid-30s. I told you. Wait till you get into your early 40s, Nick. You know, I don't necessarily think I can blame it on my age, but I could blame it on the fact that it's, you know, it's getting late. How about that? I can live with that. Well, XRP's held up pretty well right here from Bitcoin dropping that last step. Sorry about that. I had to pick something up off the floor. A little piece fell off. I hit the corner of my desk thing, and I think a little piece of plastic fell off, but I would hate to be lazy and not pick it up, and then my son comes over here and picks it up and starts chewing on it or something. I'll go up 1% right now. Still, I mean, it was up 9%, I know, at the flip, but it's still holding on remarkably well here. So I'm saying I would like to see some opportunity after. These are the areas I always get a little nervous for. Algo is right up to our technical move right now. So I mean, it could fly out of here. It's come right up into that area right now. It just hasn't had any real correction yet. We'll see. Maybe this could be that drop, and then the market just has a big reversal here. Because ACH has not invalidated this pattern. Data has not invalidated their patterns. They've just made it a little more difficult, is all. And if that is a big M, this is where it gets to. We're basically at that break point. We can't really come down any farther in these altcoins, if I'm being honest. But I know I've extended this out far enough, but I do have to go. I know I've got to go. I got to get ready for tomorrow, make sure my son's good, yada, 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 so on and so forth. This is your first bull run. Dominance is everything. Bitcoin dominance is too high. It's too high as I'm walking out. It's too high. We want the Bitcoin dominance to break down here. And right now, the honest to God truth is the Bitcoin dominance, if it comes down to 63.80 and holds, that's a big problem. Because right now we're on the breakout attempt of a bearish pennant. We're relying on this bearish pennant to break down and kill Bitcoin dominance in the future, going down to like 8.5%. If this bearish pennant breaks out bullish and actually holds, and this isn't a fake out, the technical move up would get it to like 96%. I just don't think 96% of all money's going to go there. But I don't know. It wouldn't be the first time I'm wrong. Certainly won't be the last either, but it plays a big factor. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. I think we held remarkably strong here. Obviously, in the early AM hours, they like to fuck with us a little bit. So, I mean, I don't know. Don't get too frisky here. Just pay attention. Honestly, I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to watch the market. I got no interest in doing anything. I want to see what it does in these levels here. Yeah, that's it. I gotta go. I wish I could answer every question, but I really do have to go. It's getting really late.